Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel for today's video. I'm back again. Sometimes you get frustrated with situations that people put you through, or spirits, because really what you're dealing with when you're dealing with narcissism is you're dealing with dark, demented, evil spirits. And they became dark and evil and demented, or the people became dark, evil, and demented just like those spirits. And, I can't answer but for myself, so I don't want to judge people. I mean, some people have been through some rough things, but I will say that you should never get so far out that you like evil and to the point that you enjoy or get off on hurting people like a narcissist does. You should never go to that level. No matter what has happened to you, whether you're a narcissist has been through the worst depths of hell in your life, there is another way. And a lot of times you get life as a mirror to you a lot of times of what you're putting out. If you reap what you sow, then a big part of life that comes at you is from the seeds that you plant and the energy that you put out there. So I think the big thing is when you have been abandoned and you haven't dealt with feeling a whole lot of love. I mean, I could see how that could cause somebody to walk down a bad path out of bitterness. But you got to know that's the weakest standard when you're talking about life in general and any kind of elevation in life. Looking at it from that point of view and deciding to never heal those types of wounds and to continue down that pathway, continue down that road, is to say that you're going to be a coward. And people can attack me all day long, and I'm human, so it's going to be hard sometimes. It's been hard, sometimes lately, because sometimes you get tired. And sometimes you feel, even though you're protected, you kind of feel, like God don't care or something, And I know that's not true, but, we get weak. And that's why we have to look to the Lord. Because that's where you find it. Your strength is always comes from within. I always speak about it. Everything is born from within, and then it manifests out here in the world. And if you've always been abused as a child and you never really got love from people around you, I could see how you can get bitter, and I've dealt with a lot of that stuff. But out in the world, there are people outside of your family that do show love. And the last thing that you want to do if you came from something like that, injuries like that, is to perpetuate it. Because when you perpetuate a seed that's already been planted like that and tries to flourish, it becomes 10 times worse with each generation. And it's a cowardice way, because you have to lie and you have to fake and you have to impersonate and intimidate and gang stalk and bully and be sour all the time and hate people and be jealous of what they have because you don't have it, or envy them and want to take it. And it just goes against all of humanity and all of what God has created us to be. And it's like you fall right into the trap of perpetuating that evil, and then it goes upon your children, and then it just gets 10 times worse with each generation that it perpetuates. and it germinates, and the root is bigger, and the, the it just it's just not good. And for people, if I can get you to understand, or at least to try to process, for those people, man, you're ruining your life when you operate in that form and fashion. There's no fruit in it, and you sabotage yourself and you sabotage everybody around you, and it causes everything to implode on you, and it only hurts your soul, your spirit, your family, your community, and your legacy. There's nothing for you to look forward to but a lifetime of thievery and cowardice actions, where you have to intimidate or imitate to clout chase or smear people behind their back. I mean, just be, at least if you try to look for love, you might find it. But a lot of times narcissists get a lot of love, a lot of good people. Yeah, they use other people's energy to get it. And that's wrong. That's a lie. And you're thieving from people's vessels. And you're sabotaging them, and you are opening major doors for dark energy to control you and possess your vessel. And that's when you get to a point to where you become sadistic, and that becomes a malignancy inside you, to where you don't have any self-control, because you're run completely and wholeheartedly in the department of lust. And lust is to be a heavy addiction in the world's reality, and that's it. And the world's reality is to live moment to moment in a survival type mode, to get whatever you can for yourself, and to put anybody down doing it, with no feelings, no emotions of goodness. You're just callous, and your emotions are like a fungus. Really, that's the only emotions that you have, is the emotions that destroy life, destroy fruit. If you see a fruit with some sort of fungus on it or something, and it's in a bowl with other fruit, it's going to get on all the other fruit and infect them. And these are things that you can, I know the narcissist doesn't change, but in hopes that narcissists can change, at least if you or I was a narcissist, you wouldn't want to hear that you couldn't change. So, but you would want to think that there was at least an option. And some people maybe do have a chance. I don't know. I mean, I've been on a constant effort to find the keys to unlocking that, if that's possible. And I don't know, because I do want to be a helper of humanity. I do. I mean, I am drawn to help people, help individuals with nothing in return. I don't need return. But I'm not going to be around individuals that are takers, and they're takers on purpose, to perpetuate and to steal from your vessel, to perpetuate evil, and for you to pay for it. So I'm not saying that, but I mean, when I give where I feel like I need to give, and I feel called to give, I don't need a return per se. I know I'll get my return from the Lord, whatever that is, when He decides that will be. But expectations on a return for doing something good, that's another thing that really just annoys me. It's an injustice. But you gotta understand where I'm coming from. I am a huge equal reciprocity individual. There's no other way to live. I'm just saying, when you do those extra things, a lot of times people always want something out of it, or they have strings attached to it, or they give you a gift and there's something hooked to it, or it's like there's something behind it to wrap you up in some curse or something. It's ridiculous. People that live like that horrible individuals, man. And to grow that cold is just a terrible, terrible thing, man. And a lot of people are not going to change. Many of them are not. Maybe all of them. You know, I often think, you know, if we haven't seen any yet, we probably aren't going to see any. But what I do work on is things for the empath to protect and to heal them. So I do work on both sides of that because I want to see it from all levels and all dimensions. And when you don't look at it from all levels and dimensions, you leave part of the puzzle out. So even if there is no chance to help those types of individuals, I still look for it, but mainly focus on the empath, because the empath is the innocent individual that really wants to do good, wants to be well, and maybe doesn't even know they have an issue with boundaries, or where their depression is coming from, or anxiety, or paranoia, exactly, or what the hell kind of family they grew up in. It's just not natural to us, because we have the ability to be vulnerable. And when you are around people on a daily basis as a child and they're not vulnerable at all, it makes you scratch your head even as a young child. And until you understand the etiology of narcissism, you won't get it. It'll just be a mystery. And sometimes it's still a mystery. Like, how can you not be vulnerable with anybody about anything? Even when you look at it from a spiritual level, it's something crazy to dwell on, but nevertheless, it is a fact. But that's all I want to say today. I'm not going to drop the channel because people are attacking the hell out of me. Does it frustrate me? Sometimes. I don't let it get to me most of the time, because I know that the Lord's, putting me through tests. When you go through the fire, you crash sometimes, and you gotta get back up. Carry the cross, y'all. And not focus on like the negative aspects of it. I really wanted to grow a channel. I'm working on some other projects in relation to things of the spirit and psychological type topics of discussion. So I want to expand the reach a little bit more and get into different topics, but always have a core of narcissism, because narcissism is very important to talk on, because it's destroying and wrecking the world, and a lot of people still don't know about it. A lot of people do know about it, but they understand it from a real awkward way. And I think the way I come at it is something, I understand the spirit realm a whole lot, and I have spent a lot of time. There's been times I spent a lot in silence with the Lord. I have my ebbs and my flows, so. But it always needs to be talked about. And I think demon possession or the deliverance ministry should be talked about a lot more as well. And that's something that I want to talk about a little bit, but it just seems like whenever I speak my truths, it's hard to get things to get off the ground as far as reaching people. It's like people don't want to hear the truth anymore at all. Or once you get a pretty decent following, somebody comes in and knocks it back down to the ground, like these idiots, these federal agents, these FBI judicial system people that are involved in my situation, and these hackers, and they're able to finance stuff that regular people can't. And it makes you want to, you're talking to the Lord like, come on, man, help me out here, and it's like there's no help sometimes, and it could be a little disheartening. But nevertheless, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. And don't, what does it say in the Bible? It says, in the Word it says, don't judge a thing from the beginning, but judge it from the way that it ends. Because if the Lord is with you, He will take care of everything by the time you get to the end. And you got to believe that and walk in your faith, man. Without faith, you don't have anything. You're just a vicious criminal without love and without faith and without Christ, man. You're nothing. You're nothing. And I'm going to speak my truth. And so be it. Thank you for watching.